Hello? My name is Damian Cole, and if you're here, perhaps you too feel that strange pull toward places where time seems to hold its breath. Some clocks mark the hours, others guard secrets. In the heart of Prague, nestled among Gothic shadows and whispering alleys, there is one such artifact, a clock that doesn't just measure time, it bends it, protects it, maybe even curses it. This is the story of the Orloj, the Astronomical Clock of Prague, a masterpiece of genius, a symbol of power, and for many the origin of a curse that has survived war, betrayal, and centuries of silence. Join me on this journey through history, tragedy, and the unexplained, because every gear has a story, and every story carries a warning. If the clock ever stops again, Prague might never wake up. Welcome to El Portal de las Historias.
They say some cities have a soul, places where time doesn't just pass, it breathes, where buildings remember, alleyways whisper, and clocks have a heart. Prague is one of those cities, and at its heart ticks a creation that defies the centuries. The Orloj, the astronomical clock that not only marks the hours, but fate itself. The story begins in the year 1410, when the Kingdom of Bohemia was living a golden age of intellectual flourishing. Alchemy, astronomy, and the arts thrived under the reign of Wenceslaus IV. In that context, the Prague City Council wanted to leave an eternal mark. That's when they contacted Master Hanus, or Hanush Zaruja, a clockmaker renowned for his almost mystical precision. Some said he knew the secrets of the stars. Others claimed he had studied with Arab sages in Al-Andalus, or that he possessed a forbidden book brought from Byzantium. Hanus worked for years, locked away at the top of the town hall tower. Only his young apprentice, Jakub, was allowed to enter. The city whispered. Some claimed to see strange lights in the tower at night. Others said they heard voices, distant chants, mingled with the sound of gears. Finally, in the autumn of 1410, the public unveiling took place. The old town square filled with nobles, monks, merchants, and villagers. When the clock struck for the first time, time itself seemed to stop. The figures danced, the spheres gleamed as if alive, and the sky seemed to lean closer to watch. The crowd erupted in applause. The Orloj wasn't just a clock, it was a rite of power. The success was such that kings from other realms sent messengers and letters offering commissions for Hanus to replicate his masterpiece. France, Venice, Constantinople. Everyone wanted their own Orloj. But this stirred greed and fear among Prague's councillors. They feared the glory of the clock would be copied and their prestige would vanish. They wanted the Orloj to be unique in the world, at any cost. One winter night, while Hanus was working on new clockwork designs, he was attacked by 3 men. They threw him to the ground and burned out his eyes with a red-hot iron. It is said that as he screamed, one of the attackers whispered, "Eyes that see too much have seen enough." Hanus survived, but his spirit was broken. A few days later, he asked to be taken to the clock one last time. No one agreed, except his loyal apprentice, Jakub. Together, they climbed the 69 steps to the gear chamber. There, Hanus felt the wheels as if he could see with his fingertips. Then, he touched a hidden part of the mechanism, a spring no one else knew about, and whispered a phrase in Latin. Fiat tenebrae super eos. Let darkness fall upon them. The clock stopped, and with it, the master's heart. Jakub tried to reactivate the mechanism, but something had changed. They say he cried for hours beside the body. The city awoke in silence. No crows cawed, no bells rang. Eventually, other clockmakers managed to restore it, but since that day, the Orloj never beat with the same perfection. They say that from that moment on, the Orloj holds the soul of the master, and that if it ever stops completely, Prague's fate will be sealed in misfortune. For centuries, every attempt to modify the mechanism has been marked by tragedy. In 1865, a restorer mysteriously fell from the tower. In 1945, the Nazis damaged the clock during the final days of the war. Fire nearly consumed it, but amid the smoke, some soldiers claimed to see a figure in the tower, with eyes covered by a blindfold. Many believe Hannes still protects his creation, and that time, like him, holds a grudge. On October 14th, 2005, night watchman Tomáš Kolar was patrolling the town hall as he did every night. At 3:06 a.m., he heard a tapping sound inside the clock. He climbed up. The room was filled with an impossible mist, and there, before the mechanism, he saw a silhouette. It was a slender man wearing a long cloak, his face covered by a black blindfold. His mouth bore a faint smile. Tomáš clearly heard, "You betrayed time, and it will return." The clock stopped for 7 minutes and 14 seconds. That dawn, strange incidents occurred on the Charles Bridge. A blackout swept the old town, and a mysterious fire broke out in the Clementinum Library. The event was never officially acknowledged. Tomáš resigned that same week. Today, he lives in a distant village and never speaks of it. They say time heals all wounds, but in Prague, time also remembers. The Orloj is not just a clock, it is a witness, a guardian, and perhaps a warning. Because if one night the figures fail to dance, if the clock falls silent, maybe the master is descending the tower once more, ready to settle accounts with those who tried to steal eternity. From this corner, where history and mystery meet, thank you for crossing with us into the portal of stories.
El Portal de las Historias presentó un documental original.